Hi everyone, nice to meet you. This is Seoul Korea. I'm Judy. Now I'm going to recite the Gospel according to Mark, chapter 6, part 2. The apostles gathered around Jesus and reported to him all he had done and taught. Then, because so many people were coming and going, they did not even have a chance to eat. He said to them, "Come with me by yourselves to a quiet place and get some rest." So they went away by themselves in a boat to a solitary place. But many who saw them leaving recognized they ran on foot from all towns and got there ahead of them. When Jesus landed and saw a large crowd, he had compassion on them. So he began teach because they were like sheep without a shepherd. So he began teaching many things. By this time, it was late in the day, so the disciples came to him. It was already late. Send these people away so they can go to surrounding countrysides and buy themselves something to eat. But he answered, "You give them something to eat." They said to him, "That would take 8 months of man's wages. Are we to go and spend that much on bread and give it to them to eat? How many loaves do you have?" He asked. "Go and see." When they found out, and they said, 5 loaves and 2 fish. Then Jesus directed them to have all the people sit down in groups on the green grass. So they sat down in groups of hundreds and fifties. Taking 5 loaves and 2 fish, and looking up to heaven, he gave thanks and broke the loaves. He gave them to set before the people, and he also divided the 2 fish among them all. They all ate and were satisfied. And the disciples picked up the 12 basketfuls of broken pieces of bread and fish. The number of the men who had eaten was 5,000. Immediately Jesus made his disciples get into a boat and go on ahead of him to Bethsaida, while he dismissed the crowd. After leaving them, he went up mountainside to pray. When evening came, the boat was in the middle of the lake. He was alone. He was alone on land. He saw the disciples straining at the oars because the wind was against them. About the first watch of the night, he went out to them. But when they saw him walking on the lake, they thought he was a ghost. He was a ghost. They cried out because they all saw him and were terrified. Immediately, he spoke to them and said, "Take courage, it is I, don't be afraid." He was about to pass by. He climbed into the boat with them, and wind died down. They were completely amazed. But they did not understood about the loaves. They were completely amazed, for they had not understood about the loaves, for their hearts were hardened. When they had crossed over, they landed at the Gennesaret and anchored there. As soon as they got out of the boat, people recognized Jesus. They ran through the whole region and carried the sick on mats to whenever they heard he was. And wherever he went, into villages, towns, or countryside, they begged him to let them touch him, even the edge of his cloak. And all who touched his cloak were healed. Thank you.